Which titles come to mind when you think of horizontal shoot-'em-ups? R-Type? Radius? What about Zero Wing? Never heard of it? I bet you have without even realizing it. Zero Wing was released in arcades in 1989. It was published by Taito and developed by Toplan, the company behind arcade classics like Tiger Heli, Twin Cobra, Truxton 1 and 2, Snow Brothers 1 and 2, and the absolutely stellar Batskun. Zero Wing reached a degree of success in arcades. At least it was successful enough to warrant ports for the Mega Drive in 1991 and for the PC Engine CD-Rom attachment in 1992. The game truly came to fame almost 10 years later, but for all the wrong reasons, being the target of ridicule and mockery. You see, the home console ports got something the arcade version lacked: an intro sequence, and this is where things went a little bit out of control. The English translation of the intro was so deliciously bad that it came back to haunt the game when it became the subject of one of the early internet memes. Nowadays, few people actually remember Zero Wing, but linguistic gems like "somebody set up us the bomb" and of course "all your base belong to us" will continue to live in infamy. So now that we've addressed the elephant in the room, let's talk about the game itself. Zero Wing is a fairly traditional shooter. You move from left to right, shoot at enemy formations, and collect power-ups in the process. Depending on the collected power-ups, you get one of three different weapons: the regular shot, a laser, and homing missiles. These weapons can be upgraded in 3 steps by collecting power-ups of the same color. You'll also get 2 drones that accompany your ship and blast away with you in unison. There are also speed upgrades, as well as a sphere that docks to the front of your ship, similar to R-Type's force device. Now, this sphere can be launched against approaching enemies, and it explodes an impact similar to a smart bomb. Your secondary form of attack is a tractor beam, which grabs enemies and allows you to either throw them against each other or use them as a shield. Now, this feature helps out immensely and gives the game a tactical risk and reward element, because you have to get fairly close to the enemy to actually grab him and risk being shot in the process. With all these weapons at your disposal and the fairly moderate speed of the game, Zero Wing fools you into believing that it's incredibly easy. And understandably so, especially when you're equipped with the homing shot. There's pretty much nothing that stands in your way during the first few levels. Starting with level 3, things get a little bit more interesting. The levels become more and more obstructed, and you have to stay clear of the walls and quickly dodge enemy fire. And seriously, the amount of enemies and projectiles in later levels is just insane. And while the game starts out almost too easy, it becomes infuriatingly difficult. But if you're up for the challenge, there's some replay value to be had. With 3 different endings, Zero Wing encourages multiple playthroughs. The graphics are pretty solid for 1989. Of course, there are better looking shooters on the Mega Drive, but Zero Wing is far from being ugly. Each level has a distinct flair, and there's a nice variety of different enemies and backgrounds. As with many shooters, the graphical highlight are the end bosses, which are pretty neatly designed. Hands down, the best part of Zero Wing is the amazing soundtrack. This is where the Mega Drive version truly shines, rocking away with memorable melodies, heavy guitar riffs, and a driving beat that keeps pushing you forward. To be honest, I actually prefer this over the arcade version or the PC Engine CD-based soundtrack. In conclusion, the question remains, is there more to Zero Wing than the meme that overshadows it? And I have to say, yes, there is. Of course, the game is nothing special in hindsight, but having played it now, I have to admit that I would count it as one of my favorite Mega Drive games. If you have the chance, you should definitely check it out and give it a go for yourself. To quote the game, "Move Zig for great justice."